Hello and welcome to the first video in Module 2 of UOIT's AEDT 3110, Information Literacy. I'm Janet Simmons. In the last module, we were introduced to the ACRL's framework, which comprises 6 components. In this module, we will look at various types of literacies, but first we need to gain some understanding of literacy in Canada. As always, we will begin with the analysis questions and end with the synthesis questions. First, we will determine what are literacy skills. Next, we'll look at the 6 levels of literacy. And all that information will help us understand literacy in Canada and in Ontario. There are 2 analysis questions for this video. How well do you think you can read and write compared to others in this course? And have you had problems with working out math problems in your everyday life? If you were between 16 and 19 years old in 2012, then these results are representative of your peer group. Approximately 15% of Canadians in this age group have a low literacy rate and about 22% of low numeracy rates. Does that surprise you? Well, there's more surprises in store. Looking at the combined percentage, we find that 32% of Canadians between 55 and 65 also have low literacy rates. Clearly, we are improving, but so many other countries are doing better than we are at closing the literacy gap. Now, how did we get into this situation? Beginning in the 1700s, being literate meant you were able to sign your name on a document. By the 1800s, literacy had progressed to the ability to sign your name and also read passages from the Bible. But there were clearly a problem because half of the population of Quebec men were illiterate, while 90% of men outside of Quebec could read. In 1939, the National Film Board of Canada was made to distribute films designed to help Canadians in all parts of Canada to understand the ways of living and the problems of Canadians in other parts. This was perhaps the beginning of media literacy as we now begin to critically think about information presented to us through the media. Prior to the age of the internet, Canada's literacy rate was only 76%. And as we just found out, although more Canadians are now literate, there's still a long way to go. But we can't compare ourselves today to those living in Canada in the 17 and 1800s. We are more educated and we're expected to have better literacy skills than they had. Today there are 3 domains of literacy. The first is prose literacy. This is the knowledge and skills needed to understand and use information from texts, including editorials, news stories, brochures, and instruction manuals. Next, there is document literacy. This is described as the knowledge and skills required to locate and use information contained in various formats, including job applications, payroll forms, transportation schedules, maps, and tables and charts. Finally, there is quantitative literacy. This is the knowledge and skills required to apply arithmetic operations, either alone or sequentially, to numbers embedded in printed material, such as balancing a checkbook, figuring out a tip, completing an order form, or determining the amount of interest on a loan from an advertisement. According to the OECD, there are 6 levels of literacy that apply to all 3 domains. Earlier in the video, we found that some 16 to 19-year-olds have literacy issues. These people were in level 2, level 1, or below level 1. I suggest you briefly pause the video to read each level and try to determine what level you think your skills are at for each of the 3 domains. In 2015, the OECD conducted further tests. As we can see, on average, we are sometimes better and sometimes a bit worse than other countries. This indicates that low literacy levels are a problem in many parts of the world. 4 in 10 Ontarians aged 15 and over do not have the literacy skills they need to meet the demands of modern life. That's 1.3 million people, or 16.2%, struggle with very serious literacy challenges. They have difficulty with even the most basic written materials. Another 2.1 million people, or 26%, can work with printed information, but not very well. A further 1.8 million people, or 21.3% of working-age Ontarians, struggle with very serious numeracy challenges, and they have difficulty with even the most basic math. Another 2.4 million people, or 29.1%, can work with numeracy, but not very well. Despite the need, less than 5% participate in adult literacy programs. There is only one synthesis question for this video. As you think about this question, don't forget that 26% of Ontarians are functionally illiterate. Does this mean that over a quarter of the population is also information illiterate? You are probably shocked by the literacy challenges faced in developed countries, in Canada, and in Ontario. But there are more to literacy than just the 3 domains mentioned here. In the next few videos, we will look at multiple literacies and begin synthesizing many of the topics we've examined so far. See you in the next video.